Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So once again, we have a ton of news coming out. Doesn't seem like things are going to slow down anytime soon, and I'm all for it. This first article is titled, "What's Next for Payments?" I think we sort of know. Like, I know it's just a title. It's a title, Mick. We know. Firstly, you have all these big meetings taking place. Number two, you have all these banks coming out talking about the implementation of DLT technology, admitting that they're fragmented and going to need bridge currencies. I mean, of course, some of them are a little bit opaque in what they're saying, but I mean, if you have fragmentation and yet you require something to connect all of these various systems so you can dip into real world asset tokenization. I mean, and it's not just the banks, it's the large asset managers as well. Then you're saying you need bridge currencies. And then I don't need to get onto the whole liquidity aspect, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it already, you want to go see that members only video I dropped yesterday. I told you I would, and I did. I kept my word. From beginning to end, you want to see that video and then research all that information yourself. There's a reason why. If you pay close attention, there's an overarching theme in that video. There's a reason why I was really honed in on that one particular aspect, which almost nobody is talking about. Power is yours. Let's continue forward. So we know what's next for payments. Absolute new financial domination. XRP skyrocketing. In my humble opinion, it's not financial advice. Doesn't have to be your opinion. XRP skyrocketing. HBAR, Cardano, in my humble opinion. There's no way around this. Chainlink. The bank coins are in proper position. Then you have something like this. Ripple joins MasterCard at key event. You don't say that. That's not even major in my humble opinion anymore. Like, it's still significant, but there's so many big things happening. It's unbelievable. Like with the whole new licensing thing in Singapore, or what they did in the MENA region recently with the UAE. That's huge. Huge. You want trillions? You have to be connected. You have to have the connections for the collection. You have to. And they have that. Are people not bullish? Are you not entertained? Sorry about that. As soon as I said, are people not bullish, I immediately thought of the movie Gladiator. You remember that? Russell Crowe was amazing in Gladiator. I don't care what anyone says. I remember seeing it in theaters. It was like the first week it dropped. It was, are you not entertained? It was like, whoa. It's an all-time great performance. Anyway, that's what I thought about. Come on, let me share a little bit. Holy smokes. You're like, Mick, somebody out there, I can hear you. I can hear you. Mick, get back to the information, the crypto information. I got you. Don't worry. Ripple joined MasterCard and a ton of executives, their words, not mine, a ton of executives in a thoughtful discussion on financial payment rails at the event. A ton of executives, really. Right. Of course. They all know what's coming. They're all in on it. It's not just, well, let's see who was there. Pay attention to the government officials and what they're saying. Pay attention to the central bank figures and what they're saying. Pay attention to the banks that acquiesce every single time to the central banks. There's a difference. There's some banks are in rebellion, and there are other banks that acquiesce every single time. Pay close attention to what they're doing. It's going to tell you everything you need to know. Ask questions. Why are they doing that? And I think it's going to lead you somewhere very interesting. You make up your own mind. Perception. Each eye sees something different, right? So you'll have your own perception, but it's best to know and see it for yourself. I think it's going to blow your mind. I do. So it says this. Ripple Senior Executive Officer / Managing Director, Middle East and Africa, Reese Merrick, took the stage at the recently concluded Binance Blockchain Week to discuss financial payment rails. The Ripple executive shared his views on where Ripple is heading. Not that he's going to be able to say too much. A lot of those banks, they're very vehement about keeping things quiet. Not just with crypto, but in a lot of different ways. They're very secretive. I get it. I mean, I suppose you could put that on all. They're a private entity, I guess. But let's see what he has to say. It says discussing the benefits of XRP and RLUSD. That's right. You put XRP first. That's right. You know what the power is. Oh, yeah, I like that. Don't play any games. You know, RLUSD is the Trojan horse, but let's keep going. In my humble opinion, on the XRP ledger in moving value, Merrick joined Christian Rao, SVP Digital Assets and Blockchain at MasterCard, and Nicola Plakas, VP of Payments at Ton, in a thoughtful discussion on financial payment rails at the Binance event. You just said that already. Why did you reiterate? You just changed things just so minutely and reiterate it. Is this filler? Don't do that. Who's U.Today? U.Today, don't do that. Don't put filler there. You'll still get the views. Just give us the potent information, and people will come. According to my humble opinion, according to MasterCard's Christian Rao, mobile payments were new 10 years ago, but now they are the standard. No disrespect, Mr. Rao. You didn't have to say that. You're preaching to the choir. We already know that. Is this filler on your part? Don't do filler. Just tell. If you don't have anything potent to say, I would rather nothing be said at all, to be quite honest. But let's keep going. This is my humble opinion. I mean, no disrespect. Somebody out there's like, Mick, why you say that, Mick? That's a little stern. Sometimes you have to be a little bit stern. You can't stand for everything. You become a fool. Let's continue. Comparing this to cryptocurrencies, Rao stated that digital assets are becoming more relevant for the next generation, allowing them to borrow against and spend. Now you're talking. Rao alluding to digital assets, saying it is world changing, right? With the need for a shift across board. You know what's funny? Hold on. I have an article here. Did I lose the article? No, I think I had a potent article here. I'm not sure. I have so many tabs open. But it says something that it seems like what he wants to say about digital assets dominating, but he just won't come out and say it. Merrick, let's get on to that, highlighted growing crypto and stablecoin acceptance in line with Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse insights shared at the event. Ripple exec Reese Merrick recalled his early conversations years ago, especially in Europe. Why especially in Europe? Can you answer that to me? Ripple's been all over the place. They've been in Japan, China, all over Asia, all over Africa, all over Latin America. Why Europe? Let's keep going. That's a good question, right? I think I have an answer, but let's keep going. Reese Merrick recalled his early conversations years ago, especially in Europe. When mentioning crypto or stablecoins made people uncomfortable. Right. So what changed between then and now? They were uncomfortable then. According to him, if we're to believe him, we don't have to. It's his story. All right. So could it be true? Yes. Could it be not true? Yes. So I'm keeping both in mind and staying balanced, right? But uncomfortable then, but not uncomfortable now. But there really wasn't a change in stablecoins or crypto since that time. And what would be changes like certain implementations on change was superficial. So what really changed that made them so comfortable? The takeover. They got themselves in position where they are the ones that can dominate and profit the most. Emphasis on profit the most. Hence why now everyone, including Europe, even though Europe is going, think about this. Europe knows stablecoins are not stable. ECB is one of the biggest ones screaming out stablecoins aren't stable, and yet they're allowing it to proliferate. Why? Why? They would only do such if, even against their own better judgment, they were going to profit off the implementation of the new system. So, of course, they're going to allow, while they can't go back on their word, because for years they were screaming, stablecoins unstable, and yet they continue to do that. They allow the proliferation of stablecoins because it will take down the system, possibly. I'm just playing with the idea. It's not a guarantee. It will take down the system, of which then forces or justifies the implementation of all of these other mechanisms of DLT that they will profit from. That would be a good, solid reasoning as to why they have taken this particular path. In my humble opinion, there's other possibilities, but that's what I'm positing here. Let's continue on. But the narrative has changed. Oh, it did. Talk, Merrick, talk spicy to them. You better not back down. I know what you want to say. Don't back down, Merrick. Don't do it. Tell him, don't back down right now. Don't back down now. The narrative changes. What you're saying, Reese Merrick. Why did it change? You good folks out there, you're very smart, very wise, erudite, perspicacious, all that good stuff. Why did the narrative change? Once more, crypto didn't majorly change. It's been pretty much the same. Did USDC change? No. You do have RLUSD, but it's not that different than other stable coins. XRP remains pretty similar to what it used to be, although you have, implementations on chain like Flare, etc. But XRP overall was already crypto on steroids. It really didn't need a change. It was the best of the best then, it's best of the best now. And that's without them implementing all of the different advanced mechanisms that they claim they're going to implement that I talked about years ago. So the only thing that changed was the positioning of the legacy system. Why did that positioning change, folks? Why? Because there's a lot of value. And they witnessed retail go through a few bull cycles. And they witnessed people come from the bottom to the top. People that had very little capital become millionaires, hundreds of millions of dollars made, even if not hundreds of millions, that people were making millions, right? They were rising. And the legacy system said, wait a minute, if they can do that, we could quadruple that. Let's take this over. And they did. They moved in. Have they not? Have they not moved in position? So let me ask you a question. So with all this positioning, we'll get back to the article. Don't worry about it. We're playing with thoughts. This is important. With all that positioning that they're doing, do you think that they're here to make pennies? If regular people were making hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars even over years with crypto, what do you believe? I'm just asking questions. You don't have to answer. What do you believe the legacy system intends to do? They control the mainstream media. They control the legacy financial system. They have taken over. They're rapidly taking over crypto. I don't want to say they've taken over completely just yet, but they haven't shaken everyone out. But they're definitely in the driver's seat. You don't believe that they'll do what regular people do? Pump crypto when they want, when they please? They control the media. They control banks. When people walk into their banks, holy smokes, those bankers are on them. Like flies on fresh. Shh. Don't you curse. Don't curse around here. Don't you cuss around here. You can't cuss around here. Is that a good down? Somebody from down south like, what was that, Mick? You can't cuss around here. I don't care. That's a good down south accent. But I completely forgot my thought. It's your fault. You were laughing with me. Hey, tighten up real quick. Tighten up. You can't have too much fun. Get back to that crypto. Yeah. I heard somebody out there. They were like, get back to the crypto, Mick. I heard you. All right, let's continue on here. But the narrative has changed. Merrick added, it is table stakes for banks and institutions to have a digital asset strategy. Yes, because they're going to be the ones who really pump that price. They're going to be the ones who benefit the most. I already see the setup. Most retail will be gone. They don't understand interbank payments. They don't understand that XRP, Hedera, Chainlink, Solana, XLM, things like this. These types of bank coins are the parts in the engine. You don't see. They're not the pretty parts outside the body of the car. They're the parts in the engine. They don't get that. So they don't understand why there may be a massive explosion. And then they're not doing the reading. If they did, it's unequivocal. You can't deny it. If you do the reading, you don't understand the white papers, you're reading the bank documents, you see where this is going. They're all on the same team. It's rigged. This is why you have Ripple, out there shining and smiling, and you have all these financial institutions cuddling up with them. Rapidly, politicians they're leaping, just bunny hopping into their back pockets. They have the connections for the collection. Say it with me. You'll feel better. I promise you're going to feel better. Well, I can't promise that. Let me not say that. You might feel better. Might. See that? I added that. Might feel better. They have the what? Huh? They have the connections for the collections, and the connections are increasing so rapidly that soon we might need an inspection. You like how I raised the voice up right there? That gets the energy going. Yeah, that was on purpose. Yeah. By the way, you have the power. What are you letting that power just sit around for? Use that power. Take those powerful hands of yours. Yeah, you're shining right now. You feel great right now. You're strong right. You're strong right now. That's Lady Animan's voice. You're strong right now. Hit that like button a couple times. Boom, 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 boom. Let's continue on here. As reported, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse highlighted growing acceptance for stablecoins. Of course he did. They're the Trojan horse. Everywhere that RLUSD kicks the door open, XRP runs through with the shoddy. They're clearing the close quarters. RLUSD kicks the door. XRP runs in. Right. If you understand what I'm trying to convey, that wasn't the best image to paint, but you get the message. So as reported, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse highlighted growing acceptance for stablecoins, saying that more people are recognizing stablecoins and their value. More people? Clarify that, Brad. What do you mean by more people? You're talking about bankers. You're talking about financial institution representatives. That's the people you're talking about, Brad. That's who you take meetings with. That's who you know. Am I correct, folks? You agree with that? You don't agree? I believe that's correct. So when he says more people are recognizing stablecoins, Brad, you also have to recognize they know you're a rising power. Ripple's a rising power. They're going to utilize your products like RLUSD, which they could care less for. They really want the XRP. That's why they're buying XRP by proxy. You're seeing all these proxy buys. Who's buying these massive amounts of XRP that are being offset by selling? That's very strategic. So no one knows. The price doesn't even flicker. The price doesn't rise at all because it's so strategic that the selling outweighs the buying. So it's kept secret. Who's doing that, Brad? They want the XRP. Are they? Before all of these other bank coins, they're doing XRP treasuries, Brad. Why is that? They could do so. They could have done Solana treasuries first. They didn't. They could have done Chainlink treasuries first. They didn't. They did XRP first, Brad. Brad, you have XRP tatted on your body. You can't trick me. That's not going to happen. And also, in like the members only section does, we are reading the bank documents and seeing what's going on. Yeah, we do. We've gone deep and we see what's going on with liquidity. Most people don't know. They don't know. Quantitative easing, right, guys? Oh, quantitative easing is going to make everything better. You sure about that? Are you sure about that? There wouldn't be anything going on. You know what? Shh. That's for the members only section. Did you see the last video yesterday? The one I put out yesterday? Take a look at that. Look into all of that. Is there a problem that's been going on for a long time that doesn't look like it's going to get remedied? Shh. Let me be quiet about that. Hold on. So Brad, you can't, no disrespect, sir. No disrespect. You seem pretty cool. But there is no way that you expect someone like myself or my viewers here who are highly perspicacious to fall for the pointing over here while you do something over there. Stable coins. No, XRP. XRP. We know, we see it. Let's continue on here. According to Nicola Plekis, VP of Payments, Ton and Stablecoins, offer a lot of utility for users. Is that so, Nicola Plekis? Right? Stablecoins, right? Right. The Trojan horse. Time repeats itself. Or some people like this new phrase I hear a lot. Time doesn't repeat itself. It rhymes. It's the same thing. Like you're just being semantical about it. Like what? There's cycles, right? There's cycles. And I get it. I understand the sentiment. Like no two cycles are the same, although they may be similar. I get it. I understand that. So at the Swell event in November, Ripple announced a collaboration with MasterCard, WebBank, Gemini. That's it? That's it? Hold on a minute. Let me scroll down. Is that all? Are you serious right here? Well, we have more news, folks. Let's go here to this article. This one here. I should have put this first. You make it this far? Holy smokes. Now, I can see the time today. Listen to this. And this is what I was talking about. Remember, I was making all those videos about digital wallets? And we were going by, I don't remember if that was in a members only section or a regular video. Whoopsie. Well, now that if it was a members only video, it was so long ago, we might as well speak about it. Digital wallets, and I was going over some bank documents, and in those bank documents, they were showing a lot of interest in digital wallets and who was going to control those digital wallets. And what was I saying then? I said then that whoever controls digital wallets will be in a very powerful position. And that's why, and it was around that time, remember Ripple, they bought like a custody company. Remember that? And it was around that time. And that custody company also obviously is involved with digital wallets, etc. And that's why I was discussing that and looking at those bank documents. All of that happened around the same time. That's not a coincidence, right? I beg your finest pardon. A little air in my chest. The banks coming out and speaking about custody heavily at that time. Notice how it was only at that time. They haven't gone as deep as that since that time, from what I know. And we look at a lot of bank documents and financial institution documents on this channel, especially in the members only section, which, by the way, make sure that you're not just watching the members only videos, but you're getting those members only posts as well, which are very, very potent. In my humble opinion, you want to take a look at those. And I do some of the red highlighting and stuff at times, but that doesn't mean that the other stuff that's not highlighted or circled is less potent, because it is very potent. That's why I took the time and I'm like, let me post this. Out of all these documents I'm looking at, I'm posting certain things because they're powerful. All right. So make sure you're looking at that. But we go over a lot of those documents, and I haven't seen them delve deep like they did then. Why? So why did that happen at the same time Ripple was getting deep with custody? And then all of a sudden, they just went quiet on that, as if it's not expanding. Of course it is. As if they're not weaving their way through that system and all the different connections that company that they purchased had. Of course they are. They just keep things quiet. This is why I'm saying this. This article is titled, "Whoever," is from Financial Times, "Whoever controls digital wallets will control the future." What? Folks, people are understanding what we're into here. We're into something major. We're in deep. The world is changing. We are making history. We are a part of history. You and I. Folks, we're into this XRP stuff. And that chain, and I know there's a lot of bank coin companies going to do great. In my humble opinion, doesn't have to be yours, not financial advice, but I think we're looking at the new. I don't think they're going to be exactly like an IMF or a central bank, but they're going to be some new version, Ripple and XRP, some kind of new version of a controlling financial entity, a very highly powerful, influential financial entity. And XRP is the key to that. There's no way that value does not skyrocket. I don't know when. I don't have a timeline. All right. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. And we definitely can't trust the timelines of the banks. They've given out so many timelines and they've gone back on it multiples of times. So I don't trust them whatsoever. Right. Whoever controls digital wallets will control the future. You have Ripple with a ton of banks. This is what they claim. All right. Do your own research. You don't have to believe that. That's what they claim. A ton of banks. Then they have a custodying aspect. They bought a custodying company. They're going to be issuing digital wallets for financial institutions. This article says whoever controls digital wallets will control the future. You control the digital wallets. Who's using the digital wallets? The banks. Then the banks do what with those? Well, the banks can use them. They're going to have their specialized versions, of course, right? But then also they're going to promote those digital wallets to their customers, clients. Brad Garlinghouse was saying how they have a ton of central banks that some of them of which he did not even name. What happens if those central banks are utilizing Ripple's digital wallet technology? And then all of those banks they influence because they are, I forgot what the phrase, what's the phrase for that? Oh yeah, they're supervisory entities, right? Remember that phrase? They're supervisory entities. All those entities they supervise, what if they influence them to start using those digital wallets as well? How far can this really go? I mean, right now we're just prognosticating, where we're making educated guesses but it's based on information, and we're just playing with thoughts. This is brainstorming. This is how brilliance is come about. It says if a single system dominates, it will become nearly impossible to opt out. Now, see, I don't see it as being there's no single system, and that's the beauty. There can't be. That's the beauty of the new financial system. So I'll have to part ways with whoever the article writer is on that little piece there, because the new financial system are a bunch of parts, and they all play their specific role. For example, Solana, smart contracts. Everybody will do smart contracts, but it's like, who's the specialist? Solana, Hedera, who specializes in liquidity and speed and bridge currency aspect? XRP, XLM, things like that. So they all do something different. Who's the connector pieces? Chainlink, Quant. They don't step on each other's toes. That's not truly one system. They're all different companies, and that's the key, because that neutrality is going to allow them to tap into trillions globally and to tap into liquidity that already exists, as well as tapping into illiquid assets, making them liquid. So now they're tapping into value that no one has ever tapped into before on a consistent basis. What does that do to the price, right? What's that do to the price? I don't know. I said it twice, and I just reminded myself of those movie, those guys in the movies, and it's like they'll be like a gangster movie, like a mafia movie. And there's always one character, he says everything twice. I'm going to the store, right? You ever see? Oh, come on. You watch classics, you know those characters. I reminded myself of that. My apologies. So, I mean, that's something to think about, folks. Whoever controls digital wallets will control the future. Future. What does that mean? What does that encompass? Digital wallets. Who's going to use them? Banks? Non-banking financial institutions? That's trillions of dollars. Holy smokes. They're holding things in those wallets as well, right? There's going to be staking, lending on a level we've never seen before. There's going to be a lot of holding of NFTs of a degree we've never seen before, because a lot of those NFTs are going to skyrocket. Not the ones we've seen before, but I'm talking about a lot of these new tokenized things. Everything's going to be tokenized. They'll be held in those wallets. That's a lot of value sitting there clogging up chain. Every account has to have a little bit of XRP. There's that as well. XRP being burned. There's that as well. There's a lot of things that are leaning heavily positive in a positive direction for XRP. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. All right, so let's get to a little bit of I don't know if I have any Bitcoin news today. Let's see if I have some Bitcoin news, folks. So here we have a little bit of Bitcoin news. This article is titled "Sovereign Wealth Funds Were Buyers as Bitcoin Plunged." This is coming from Larry Fink himself. Well, you know what, Larry? Don't make me like you, Larry. Don't do that. You're better as an opponent. Don't make me like you, Larry. No, what kind of comment is that? Don't let him like you, Mick. What kind of stuff is that, Mick? If you like him, you like him. No, I just like the aspect of where he seems as though he's ready to pump Bitcoin. In my humble opinion, he wants Bitcoin to skyrocket. That I like. That's it. All right. I don't know that, man. The CEO of the asset management giant, whose IBIT is the largest of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, said the state actors were buying not for a trade, but to hold for years. If that's not bullish, I don't know what is. That's super bullish. I'm surprised he's saying this. And if they're holding for years, they must expect Bitcoin's price to skyrocket. Now we know who was buying, who was nibbling at Bitcoin and the bank coins, XRP, etc. Remember, we saw all those buys happening. We're like, who's buying all of this stuff? And then you remember, I said they were keeping it quiet. Nobody was talking about that. No one was speaking about these buys that were happening. It was all the news was about Oh, crypto is down and the world is on fire and, we're in, how long is this bear market going to be? Stuff like that, for clicks and views, all this negativity. But so it was buried. But Larry Fink is like, you know what? I'm going to talk about it. That's who was buying Sovereign. If we are to believe him. Sovereign wealth funds, he claims, were the buyers. There you have it, folks. All right, it's getting serious right now. Where do you think they believe that price is going to go? You think that they're here for $150,000 Bitcoin? 200,000? You think that? I'd have to respectfully disagree. Let's read this little tidbit here. It says sovereign wealth funds were buying the dip in Bitcoin, according to BlackRock CEO Larry Fink. So it's not Alphanim saying it. It's him. All right. So it's the Fink. Quote, we're seeing more and more legitimate long holding. He's telling long holding investors investing in it, unquote. Fink said Wednesday at the New York Times Deal Book Summit in New York, quote, I can tell you there are a number of sovereign funds. They are adding incrementally at 120,000, 100,000. I know they bought more in the 80s. Can someone interview this man more? He's very he's very talkative right now, and he's giving up some information that's very powerful here. You may want to squeeze that sponge while it has some water, right? It's willing to give you some water. All right. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So I almost messed up my outro. I've messed it up a bunch of times. What was my outro? So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money. I think I got it right.